and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Cynthia Manion Show. I'm so grateful you're joining us live tonight or even watching us on the replay, because if you haven't crossed paths with my extraordinary guests yet, prepare to be inspired. Yes, indeed. Kay Daly is a trailblazer in grassroots activism. Scooping up CPACs from Ronald Reagan Award for her masterful coalition work behind Bush's 43 judicial stars, she's poured nearly 40 years into DC's whirlwind, teaming up with legends like Governor Pete Wilson and Senator Phil Gramm and the Reagan Legacy Project. She started as an intern in Hollywood on Dukes of Hazzard and Hill Street Blues, and now hosts the Daly Fix podcast and Pub Chat on X. So if you haven't joined X yet, please do. And please share this out to everyone, because there are pearls of wisdom and you have to keep opening your ears and learning how our world works, and especially how your country works. Yes? Kay's story of navigating politics, media, and crisis communication, all while raising 3 kids and having a husband who went to prison for 4 months. Can you imagine? How can you balance all of that? Kay, thank you so much for being here tonight. Let's dive in and share some truth.
Thank you so much for having me, Cynthia. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here because you're freaking amazing.
Oh, no, you're amazing.
I'm amazing. We're amazing. So, Kay, take us back to your Hollywood days of interning on the Dukes of Hazzard and Hill Street Blues, and that fun story or that not so fun story. Which one do you want to tell?
Actually, it's kind of fun. Growing up in Los Angeles, you decide you're going to go into, the Hollywood world. That's just what you do. And so I thought, okay, I don't quite know what I want to do in it, but let's try it. So my mother and father were big believers in internships. And it wasn't so much to figure out what I wanted to do, but what I didn't want to do. And so I think they kind of figured that I wouldn't like Hollywood very much. But I loved working on Dukes because Sorrel Book, who played Boss Hogg, was wonderful. He spoke 7 languages. He was a Shakespearean trained actor. Always had a book on set. And gosh, I think one of the more interesting, I also had a huge crush on John Schneider. I was 16. But the biggest day that I saw out there was a second unit. And second unit is where the action takes place, all the car jumps, all that sort of stunt stuff, right? So we were out at it's called the ranch. And so we were filming in one part of the ranch, and there were movies and TV shows and all kinds of folks filming on the rest of the property. All of a sudden, the producers come screaming up, and I'm thinking, what happened? And they come towards me. I'm like, oh God, I'm in trouble. Apparently, Twilight Zone, the movie, was filming. And that was the day that Vic Morrow and the 2 young kids were killed in a helicopter crash on the ranch. So they wanted everybody under the age of 18 off the second unit, every second unit set. So they were clearing off every young person off. That was pretty extraordinary. But I'd already kind of learned a bit about Hollywood. I worked at Universal Studios as a tour guide back when they had tour guides. I had to memorize a book about this thick of movie history. It was extraordinary, but having worked at both Hill Street and Dukes, I'm like, these people are nuts. No, this is not for me. So I went back to college, and I was dating somebody that my mother didn't like. What does Southern mother do? They send her away, right? Hopefully she'll forget about him. So I did. I was given an internship in then Senator Pete Wilson's Washington, D.C. office, in the press office. I was a goner. Goner from there. I just knew this is what I want to do. And I asked, my boss sat me down. He was the press secretary. And he said, so what do you want to do, Kay? And I said, I want your job. And he looked at me and said, there aren't that many women who do this. And I said, what? Mary Madeline is down at the RNC. I think she's doing just fine. She's great. It never stopped me. It never, I didn't view it as a glass ceiling. I viewed it as just a challenge. If there aren't that many women, maybe they don't know how to do it. So try it. And yeah, I became communications director on the Hill for several folks, press secretary, worked on several campaigns, federal, state, and local. Went back to Texas for a bit, where I had a lot of family, and then came back up to DC just in time for the 1994 elections. It was extraordinary in 1994 because for the first time in 45 years, Republicans got the gavel back in the House of Representatives. So I had a chance to be a press secretary on the House side and work with Newt Gingrich. And that was remarkable. I thought it was great fun to work for Phil Gramm. Oh no, this was something totally different. Totally different. Took us out a whole new door. And I learned an awful lot. And the guy I was working for, he actually was mentioned in the movie Serpico. He was a former New York City cop. And he moved down to North Carolina, became a chief of police in Raleigh, North Carolina. And he was used to being the chief of police. Totally different role. And because he had taken out someone who was really popular on the Democratic side, the media wasn't exactly happy with him. So they asked me to go down to North Carolina and do hand-to-hand combat with the media. So I did. I'm thinking, where is North Carolina on the map? I can't find it. So I moved down, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But there was one night that the boss asked me to go to this post-election event for the mayor of Raleigh. And I thought, oh, he's really cute. That's great. He's single. He's cute. Yeah, okay. But I'm really tired, and I don't want to go. Finally, I said, okay, the boss really wants me to go. I will go. Damn it, I don't want to go. Now, I got in my car, and there was no one else in the car. Didn't say this to anybody anywhere. But I said, cheer up. You'll probably meet your husband tonight.
Oh, snap.
Manifesting. And I did. I knew the moment he walked in. I said, oh, damn it. That's him. God, I've been so free for so long, and now I'm caught.
Yeah.
This was October of 1995. By January 1 to be exact, he asked me to marry him. And we've been married for 29 years. We knew we were the only two freaks who could possibly put up with each other. So, and yeah, 3 kids later, no one will take the kids, so we can't leave each other.
Well, they're older now, and they're all doing exciting things. Tell us.
They are. Patrick is 24. He helped start Turning Point at Baylor. He's in his final year at Baylor, and he will graduate in the spring. He majors in history. He's sort of a history savant, and God help him, he wants to go into politics. His father and I've tried to convince him not to. We've actually said, have an attorney on speed dial if you do. The second oldest is Jack. He just graduated from American University with a business and marketing degree in finance. And then, oh gosh, Reagan, 18 going on 30. She wants to be a surgeon. She just graduated from Lawrenceville in New Jersey. And she's now at Boston University. But she's not in Boston right now. Poor baby is spending her first semester at college in Greece.
Oh, fabulous.
Poor baby.
Oh,
it's terrible.
How beautiful. How beautiful.
No, they're the best kids in the world. I mean, not only did I win the husband lottery, but I've got the 3 best kids on the planet. I really do. I really do. Now, there was a question that popped up. Should I answer that one?
Well, let's say hi to everyone. Drake says hi. Outstanding. There we are. Dan Altmeyer says, hey,
Hi,
Dan.
Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mwah.
Outstanding. Mary Ann Boyer says two
Yes.
birthdays on stage. Thank you, Mary Ann. And Grace Cavalieri has a question for you. What
Okay.
values did working in politics give you?
Not many. To be honest, actually, my father was very concerned about me going into DC as a gig, as a career. He said that he'd never seen anybody who could elbow their way to the back of the line faster than me.
Huh.
I was actually shy. I was.
This I can't fathom. It does not compute in what I know of you since
I know.
It's almost a year, I think, from
right.
from Ken Walls, the Grow
it's
Live
just-
Academy.
Yeah, Grow Live. I
Thank you,
love
Ken
it. It's on Thursdays. If you haven't joined Grow Live, you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact of the matter is, you have to have alligator skin in politics. I don't know that that's a value so much as a characteristic. I also learned to woo-saw a lot of things. You don't react. When you go into crisis communications, you have to stay steady. And it wasn't only politics I did this for. I did it for people in Hollywood. I did it for folks in the corporate, private sector. And of course in politics. And the fact of the matter is, you can't react. And we have a tendency as females to react. You can't. You have to get real strategic, because there could be millions of dollars on the line. There could be reputation, an election, a judgeship, a show, a movie, whatever it is. You have to be dead bang on right then and there. The other values I sort of carried with me. One of my first mentors was a wonderful guy who was communications director on the campaign side for Pete Wilson. And I was kind of goofing off as an intern. I admit it. I was goofing off. Every intern does this. And he sat me down and he said, Kay, in this business, people have to be able to count on you. So I've kind of guided almost everything on that if you're someone who can be counted on, then you're someone who's trusted. Then you can show that you have a sense of integrity, that you tell the truth, that you don't lie. And too many in the public relations business in particular, they don't always tell all the truth. Not only that, they don't know their toolbox. They're afraid to say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. You have to, in DC, keep a sense of self. So when I was walking up to the Capitol at one point, I looked up, it was a beautiful blue, clear sky. It was just gorgeous. And the Capitol, it doesn't look real some days when you look at it. It's just gorgeous against that blue sky. And I looked at it and I said to the person I was walking with, gosh, that's so beautiful. And he looks at me and he says, Kay, as soon as you don't feel that way, leave DC. When you don't get the goosebumps, when you don't understand the sheer weight of history. And I did understand that. That's why I kept leaving and going out, not getting in the DC bubble, kind of being a rebel, bit of a rebel. And this was, of course, back in the time when you had, all kinds of different environment going on. I mean, I've got lots of friends who are on the opposition side, and you could argue about whatever and then go get a beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those were the days. I still do that, by the way.
Good. We all need to do that. All these work for real life, by the way. All these little tidbits, they work universally. They
should. I mean, but this was, look, part of politics, and it's gotten worse. It's now a blood sport, and it's changed dramatically from when I started in 1986. God, I feel old. And it really changes you if you let it. But if you keep that North Star, that sense of self, those principles that you grew up with, You're going to be fine. But there's a potential for burnout. And that also is the part of don't react, don't get too emotionally involved, step back for a second and think in terms of strategy. Think in terms of it's all going to be okay. Because even in the worst moments, even if you're losing a campaign, even if you goofed up something totally, I've always learned more on the campaigns that I've lost rather than the campaigns that I've won. I internalize it. I look to see how I can make my skill set better. Not a lot of women do that. They tend to externalize and blame someone else. I don't. It's true.
You were dubbed the next Phyllis Shoefly by David King.
Phyllis Schlafly, yes.
Yeah.
Phyllis Schlafly, she's, God, they did that when I got the Reagan Award at CPAC.
Yeah.
Phyllis Schlafly was an extraordinary lady. She was 45 years old when she went to law school, had 6 kids.
God bless her.
And that's when she got involved in politics. She started something called Eagle Forum. And this was back in the 70s. She was very concerned about the Equal Rights Amendment, particularly when it came to the draft of our daughters into the military, into combat roles. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was really worried about this. So they were doing the whole amendment thing through the states. She literally baked goods, cakes and cookies and pies, and went from legislature to legislature to legislature. And she stopped it cold in its tracks because she said, look, the original part of feminism was great. Okay. This is a problem when we don't have other things in place, like Title IX. Thank you, God, for Title IX. Because to put young women in combat roles and drafting young, no, I don't want to be drafted. I don't want my daughter drafted. And men have a tendency to take care of the women around them. I want them combat ready, but they are wonderful in all other roles in the military. I've got several friends who are in and who have been in and who were just recently out. Love my sisters who served our country. I really do. And that's why I do what I do, because I feel like I owe all of our veterans. They stood on the wall for us. They've given us the blanket of freedom that we enjoy. I owe them.
Yes.
I just do.
I have a sister just retired from the United States Air Force, 27 and a half years, full bird colonel.
Right? Exactly.
She's my hero. I would die for her. She's
exactly.
Amazing.
They
and
give
the
us
values and the truth and what they give.
Yes. And their families too. Veterans' families.
3 children.
Huge sacrifice that they do. So veterans have a really special place in my heart. I have a ton of veterans in my family, including my husband. And so I adore them.
How was your husband?
Oh, yeah. He's special. I don't know where he is right now, but he is still, in many ways, still in prison. When I was working on the judicial nominations on the Hill, and with the White House, I was having babies at the time too.
Yeah, 7 months pregnant, walking around.
Bringing them with me to the White House, hands and knees on all fours in the White House, picking up Cheerios and that the kids have dropped.
It's real life.
It's real life. But I brought them with me. I didn't want anybody else to raise them. And to me, it was too important. I always wanted to be a wife and mother first. So I had to figure out a way to do that. Now, the interesting part, when I was working on judicial nominations and running around with my kids around town, my husband was working as Senate Judiciary, a counsel for the Senate Judiciary Committee, working for the chairman, then Senator Arlen Specter. And Arlen, This was 2009 at the time. I had worked on judges since 2001. 2009, my husband's boss started getting phone calls. And they were trying to convince Arlen to change parties. Remember, 2009 was when the Obama administration had come in. And they wanted to do Obamacare. Well, my husband kept telling the senator, don't do it. Don't do it. They're not telling you the truth. You're going to regret it. They just want your vote. Don't change parties. Bad idea. The tug of war continued, and my husband lost. The person who was making those phone calls to the senator, then Vice President Joe Biden. I'm like, honey, you're bound to lose. That you weren't going to win. Got news for you. Well, my husband has a tendency to ruminate about things like that. And he felt bad for many, many, many years. He really did. Well, I started also at that point getting phone calls to move down to North Carolina again to run for Congress. I'm like, isn't there anybody else who can do this? Really? And I didn't want to run for office in North Carolina. I didn't want to uproot the kids. I didn't want to do any of that. I remember Reagan saying to me, Mom, where are all the people? When we moved to North Carolina, she's used to Washington. She said, this is naked and afraid. What have you done? So when we moved down, I ran for office and they redistricted. I was running against a gal who wasn't nice to veterans and to her constituents. Okay. And there are two guys who were in the race already were kind of scared to be mean to the nice little lady in the race. I wasn't scared.
Of course not.
And so I got into the race. They redistricted me out of the district. So, but they put in somebody who was an incumbent congressman. So I told him, I will drop out of the race and I will give you all of my opposition research if you use it and beat the bitch. He did. So we got rid of a rhino who forgot that you work for the people in your district or in your state. Okay. You don't go up to DC, drink the water, believe your own press releases and think you're something special. You work for the people in your district and your state. And she forgot that. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. That's a big no-no. Too many have. Big problem in Washington. So at that point, I was also asked by Trump to be a spokesperson on his campaign in North Carolina. I agreed to do it. And my husband had found the unicorn. He found a race that he thought he could make up for this crime that he had committed with losing the senator to the other side. And it was in Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin was vulnerable that year. And so he was looking for a candidate, found one. It was the sheriff of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, this was a race, the Senate, for the Senate, that Republicans have not held that seat since McCarthy held it. Okay, so it was it's a unicorn of a seat. So he decides he's going to call up David Clark. He does. And David says, well, I hadn't really thought about it, but I guess, running for Senate, that could be interesting. Show me the money. So my husband says to himself, okay, we got to start a PAC. Let's start looking into what kind of PAC. And he found that he needed to start a draft PAC. Draft PACs, there's about 150-year history of draft PACs and their involvement in campaigns. They do not have a specific relationship with campaigns, not a direct one. In fact, all you're trying to do is convince someone to run for office, hence the name. It does not matter whether someone runs for office or doesn't. That's not dispositive. you're trying to convince them to run. And people run for good reasons, bad reasons, no reasons, and they change their minds all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time. Well, so he starts the draft pack. 5 other PACs also start up. My husband is the only one who has that kind of resume, though, the political resume. He starts it with one of his friends. I use the term loosely. And they start raising money. The more important part in fundraising is the list, by the way. The list is the life, always.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband was putting a lot of money into this, and it literally took nada out. Okay. Well, this the guy goes on. Sheriff David Clark decides to go on radio one fateful Saturday, and he says, "You know, I really have the best job in the world. I don't think I'm going to run." Who knows? My husband, well, by the way, he resigned 3 weeks later, just to let you know. My husband gets on the phone with his friend on Monday, and they had an email that they were supposed to send out, as well as a mail package, a snail mail package. My husband did not want to trash the snail mail package in particular because it had already been printed. There was already postage on it. It was already ready to go. And he felt like he wasn't a good steward of those funds if he didn't send it out. So he decided to send that out. The argument with his friend was over this email. They didn't write it. They were asked to send it out by Ben Carson's agency and Donald Trump's agency. So my husband says, well, I don't know. You know, we've got all kinds of people who want us to raise money for them now. Maybe we can make a go of this and really build a company. Let's try. 4-hour argument. Lots of screaming. Lots of name calling. My husband decides to send it out. Now, he said after that, he just, you know, maybe Trump will call him and convince him to run, maybe not. But he started the company. Didn't think twice about it. Literally, he is the top digital marketing fundraiser for Trump Inc. and for the RNC, NRCC, NRSC, almost every candidate, organization, veterans group you can possibly think of on the right. About 2,000 clients, all told. Now, I say that not to brag, but to give you a reason why he was targeted. In fast forward a couple of years, I'm sitting at my nephew's place in Southern Virginia. It is Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving, even though it's very cold there. My boys are hunting deer. My daughter's very excited because she wants to be a surgeon, and she gets to dissect a deer. That's really exciting for her. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, God, where is my husband? Why isn't he here yet? I don't understand. Yeah. I get a phone call. Honey, I'm not coming up. What? What are you talking about? Oh, you must have missed your flight. He was forever missing his flights. Missed his flight. On purpose. He said, no, honey, I'm not coming up. Now, the next words that came out of his mouth, you could have said to me, I'm flying to the moon. I'm walking across the United States of America. I'm swimming to England. You could have said any of that. And I wouldn't have been surprised. Even close. He said these words that changed our lives forever. Honey, I'm being indicted. You're what?
On Thanksgiving.
I was like, what are you talking about? You? This is the most straight arrow, generous, kind, to a fault. In fact, he gets taken advantage of all the time. He's on the spectrum. He's got Asperger's, as does my eldest son. All right. So he is easily manipulated all the time. And I had, I immediately went into that crisis mode. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I just focused immediately. I thought, who would do this? Why? What is it? They had tried to go after him, like they were poking around before. He had raised money for the organization that put on the speech that happened at the Ellipse before January 6th kicked off. Okay. They were poking around in that. He had bought a list from Steve Bannon, but there was no there. So he started hiring attorneys. And we staved off the indictment. That was good. We discovered that it was an assistant U.S. attorney out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who used to clerk for Merrick Garland and had a made-up job for Christopher Wray, FBI Director Christopher Wray. He was special counsel. Now, Hillary had no love for me, ever. And God knows they got her out of a lot of things in the FBI. But even more so, Merrick Garland was a little salty. There were 3 judges that I kind of said, no way. My 400 group organization is not going to support this. 1 was Harriet Myers. 2 was Alberto Gonzalez. God, we came up with a great phrase for that. Gonzalez is Spanish for suitor. Oh, brilliant.
You have
And
to
Merrick
come back
Garland.
and tell us about that old stance.
Yep. And Merrick Garland. Okay. And that was my first clue. Something's not right here. Second clue that something wasn't right. They couldn't come up with solid charges or solid, reasons for this investigation. So they have the guy that they want. They have the city they want to put it in. They don't have the charges. Found that odd. And this was starting to be a pattern with several friends who ran organizations. Donald Trump himself. This was something really strange, though. They came up with a charge that does not apply, that ignores the First Amendment, because political speech is absolute in the First Amendment. Absolute. And they were charging him not for what was in the email that was sent that fateful day, but for what was not in the email. That's not a thing in the law. So they don't have the law. They don't have the facts. They made crap up entirely. We had so many attorneys. God help me. I was silenced the entire time. This is something I did for a living, was crisis communications, and I was silenced. Shouldn't have listened. They started in at that point on the plea deal. My husband was suicidal. He's not built for this. Okay. He was built for the pressure of Washington, but this was something different. He was still in the old school sort of mindset of, if they're going to indict you, there has to be something wrong. Not necessarily all the time. Because this was they're taking us out a whole new door. And they wanted to take my husband off of the 2024 landscape, out of the campaign world. They wanted him to not be on the chessboard. What I've noticed in all of these cases, if you are good at what you do, if you stand in the way of an agenda, they will take you off that chessboard, come by hook or by crook, no matter what it takes. Now, he was suicidal, had a heart condition, and I was worried. I was really worried. I didn't know if Donald Trump was going to win. I had no clue whether or not we could fix this. And we were spending a crap ton of money. I mean, a crap ton of money on this. He spent 3 months going back and forth on this plea deal because it was, from beginning to end, lies. every bit of it. And my husband said, how can I commit perjury here? Isn't it perjury for me to accept this plea deal? And besides that, I'm an officer of the court. What do you... He spent more sleepless nights, more arguing with his attorneys, more back and forth. We have all the receipts on this. That's important too. Finally, very reluctantly, he accepted the plea deal. He then, which also, by the way, took away his ability to appeal. He then, he had a court date set for December 15th, 2 years ago. And one of the main reasons why he took it was not just because we were bleeding money, not just because, well, a lot of people pushed him into it, but because they wanted to do a show trial in Milwaukee during the Republican National Convention. They wanted to embarrass the president, embarrass the party. And my husband said, I can't embarrass my president. I can't embarrass my party. So he fell on his sword. If there was anything, and I do mean anything, that he had done remotely wrong, illegal, immoral, fattening, I would tell you, I have built a career on being dead ass, straight up, honest. When we got to the sentencing hearing, we had asked several folks who had been on the sentencing commission, and they thought, first of all, what the hell is this case? This is bizarre. None of it made sense to any lawyer we showed. Left, right, center, didn't matter. They couldn't understand why this case was even brought. And it was the first time ever that anything like this had ever been charged for something like this. Ever. Before or since. And we thought, okay, home confinement, probation. We can get over this. No. This federal judge said, I want to send a message to the FEC and to the halls of Congress. That's not his prerogative. That's not what a federal judge does. They're supposed to apply the Constitution as it is written, not as they would like it to be. They are not there to send a message, write a strongly worded email, send a letter, talk to somebody at your next Georgetown cocktail party. But that's not what you do in a courtroom. That's not how you decide a case. This one did. And he sentenced my husband to 4 months in federal prison at FCI Miami. My daughter, who is very, very strong, was hysterically crying. My sons, God bless them, I had them sit on either side of me. And I said, sit on me if necessary, because I might beat a bitch today. So make sure you don't let me get up. That AUSA, that assistant U.S. attorney, got up, turned and saw my daughter hysterical and smiled, smirked at her. Yeah, his name is Ben Tableson. He is the most malicious prosecutor. He was not interested in talking to my husband. He was not interested in negotiating with the lawyers. He was not interested in the truth. He was not interested in anything but becoming the next U.S. attorney. But don't worry, because Donald Trump has named, and she's about to be confirmed, I think, this AUSA, his wife, to the Circuit Court of Appeals in a lifetime appointment. She's 42. She'll be on the Supreme Court. Guarantee it. She donates to Democrats. She has worked for Democrats, and she sleeps with Democrats. I have no clue why Trump is putting her on the Circuit Court of Appeals. But regardless, little sidestep there.
Interesting.
We tried to prep my husband for this. He was in prison at the same time as Peter Navarro, same prison. To say that the Bureau of Prisons is incompetent would be kind. It is the most poorly run, incompetent, ignorant agency in the entire federal government. It should be taken down to the foundation and rebuilt. All of this has made me want to get more involved with criminal justice reform. Republicans haven't done very well with that. We should not say, just put people in prison no matter how long, doesn't matter, who cares, throw away the key. That's not working. If you want to rehabilitate, this isn't the place to do it. It is inhumane, it is cruel, it is a nightmare. My husband was in a different unit than Peter Navarro was. He was put in a unit where 100, it was like a barracks, okay? And not out of the 100 people that were in there, 95 of them spoke Spanish. My husband didn't speak a word of Spanish. The next one he was put into, all African Americans. And then finally the last one he was put in was the geriatric ward with Peter Navarro. When Peter first got there, the warden gave him a personal tour of the prison. Then they opened up the commissary just for him. All you get in a prison is processed foods. My husband in Miami, could not get an orange for 4 months. I have no understanding of how they would have expired food, like a year expired. It was nightmarish. The mattresses, they're like yoga mats. That's not easy on a 50-year-old body, right? Pillows, God, they don't exist. You have to have them made there, and that's one of the hustles that's there that you get to buy on the side. When my husband first got there, they said, "Oh, short-term white dude, he's got to be a fat or a snitch." So when the COs raided his unit and took away everything, cell phones, air fryers, whatever, vapes, who knew, they blamed my husband. So 2 of the 3 very violent prison gangs that he was put in with tried to kill him. There weren't very many nights that I really fell apart. That was one. The other one was when there was an actual gang war. I couldn't find him I couldn't get to him. 3 out of the 4 people who were stabbed died. That was another bad night. What we learned, though, was to work it like a political campaign. You had to work the hustles, to be quite honest. And we did. Plus, my husband loves animals. And in the outside part, there were feral cats. And one of the cats had kittens. And I think that those kittens kept my husband alive. Mm-hmm. He would buy mackerel and tuna from the commissary and feed them to him. And they were 2 little orange kittens. And the Democrats up in D.C. wanted to, they were really ticked that the Republicans tried to rename Dulles Airport after Trump. So they decided to pass a bill to rename FCI Miami FCI Trump, which my husband found endlessly amusing. And he said, "How can you not be an FCI Trump and have 2 orange kittens?" It's great. So the reason why I love my husband so much, by the way, Cynthia, I never know what he's going to do or say next. I never know. And he's the only one I know who could come home with party favors. Do you know he brought home those 2 kittens?
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he did.
I was waiting for that.
He did. He brought home those 2.
What are their names?
Well, we're changing them for the book, but they were so mellow that my daughter named him Cheech and Chong. It fits. And my sons would take them to bars here and try and pick up chicks.
It probably worked too.
I wish I were kidding. But no, honestly, I think that's what kind of kept him alive. Now, by the end of this whole experience, my husband did manage to have a nickname. One of the gangs called him Gringo Loco, and I had to tell him what that meant.
Now tell me.
Crazy guy, crazy white guy.
Oh, okay.
And my daughter said, "You need to get a prison tat with that on it." I'm like,
don't give him any idea.
Do it. No, she said that will bring up your street cred, Dad. No, stop. I mean, the cast of characters that were around him, I can't even begin to describe. They all wanted to get tight and do favors with Peter Navarro because they thought they'd all get a pardon. So he got gifted with everything. And actually, Peter is one of the few people who's gone to federal prison certainly for any amount of time, much less those 4 months that he was there, for a misdemeanor. It's crazy. We're part of the 4-month club. Steve Bannon, 4 months. Peter Navarro, 4 months. My husband, 4 months. Now, my husband does not want a pardon. We'll take it if that's our backup. All it does is give you gun rights back and voting rights back. Great. Still a convicted felon. My husband is trying to obtain something called a Rule 48, which puts the toothpaste back in the tube, vacates the conviction entirely, even if you served. Vacates the conviction entirely. One of the reasons, and he's got another couple of procedures and suits out there, including what's called a Section 2255, where he is basically saying First Amendment rights were violated, the Constitution was violated. This needs to be vacated for that reason. So he's working on that. One of the reasons is because he really wants to get the funds back that he spent on this whole boondoggle. We spent $4.5 million on this. We've sold damn near everything. They debanked us, including all 3 of my kids. They de-insuranced us, which is great fun to try and get property insurance again after you've been de-insuranced. They took away his TSA pre-clearance. He had to turn in his law license. And he's a disabled veteran. They took those benefits away. And he's still on probation. He's got 2 years of probation. Now, the insanity of all of this, you don't go to federal prison for under $1 million. His restitution was $69,000. And guess where that money came from? That bank account for that very draft pack. That money had never moved, ever. All of this to say, for sending an email, my husband's life has been, and all of our lives, has been turned upside down. The process is the punishment. It never ends. It never stops. They don't ever let you go or leave you alone. It's like a Twilight Zone episode that it just never stops. It's a never-ending episode. We are hoping, we are praying that someone in Washington, D.C. will give a damn. Because this is, my husband still wakes up every morning with his heart pounding in a cold sweat. He's still in prison in many ways. I hate seeing him like that. I really do. To say that he is the love of my life would undershoot it. To say that my kids aren't the most amazing kids on the planet. That doesn't describe it. When this first started, my boys came to me and said, Mom, we know that lawyers are expensive. Our sister Reagan is the best of us. We will quit college so that you don't have to worry about tuition. In those kinds of moments, you wonder what you did in your life to have kids like that. Yeah. I told them, no, you're staying in college if I have to give a kidney. So all this to say, I do not want a single person. I don't care how you vote. It doesn't matter to me. I don't want you or your family to go through this ever for any reason. Okay. I want to stop this no matter what side, no matter who. It has to stop, or we are going to destroy our Constitution. We're going to destroy what little teeny tiny bit of hope and bit of confidence we have in our judicial system. And I don't want that either. So yeah, this is why I came out of retirement. This is why I'm back on doing things like the podcast, and I'm on X, and I'm doing spaces, and I'm trying to get the word out. I'm hoping to wake up from this nightmare soon.
So she's got the Daly Fix and Pub Chat on X. Eric, will you put up those? There you go. And we have a lot of people that were reaching out to you. Do you want to run those by?
So sure. Happy to answer anything.
So that...
happy to answer anything.
What do we have? We got people saying hi. Robert says it's good to see you.
Oh, Robert, it's good to see you. He was actually on the show.
Hey, yeah. And Patricia up in Canada. Welcome back to the U.S. To Canada. Surreal.
Yes. Oh I know, it is surreal.
I have no words. I know. I'm unaware of
I know.
Almost all of it, actually.
It's faith and family that gets you through something like this.
Faith and family and truth. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Truth
is very important, and
most important thing. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yes.
Truth.
I have to somehow get the reputation of my husband back. And where do you go to get that when you've been lied about repeatedly for years? I've lived on caffeine, nicotine, and rage for 3 years.
Okay, this is not good for you. What are you doing for self-care for Kay?
I'm near the water. I'm in St. Thomas at our house. And as a LA girl, I was a surfer chick many years ago. If I'm near water, I'm okay. I really am. So I spend time in the water. I spend time with my kids. You know, I'm blessed. I really am. And I know this. But at the same time, I can't help. I mean, they're trying to still bankrupt us. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. To say I'm not pissed would be wrong, but I put that aside for the absolute strategy of getting my husband's reputation back and stopping this dead in its tracks, putting the toothpaste back in the tube, proving his innocence in all of this, no matter how they do it. I don't care how they do it, what they put a signature on. This has to end. Just because my husband raised money for Donald Trump does not mean that his whole life should be blown up. Just shouldn't.
No one's life.
No.
No country, no place in the world.
And if you knew my husband, oh my God, you'd be like, that guy? Really?
We have a picture of him. We have a picture of him. Yes.
Yes, we have a very.
We have run through the pictures. You can give us a little narration here.
Sure.
Maybe people would like to know who to pray for.
Oh, I need all the prayers I can get. There he is. My handsome husband.
Aw.
My sweet guy.
And where are you here? Are you at home?
St. Thomas, yeah.
St. Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
What else you got, Eric? Just pop them through. Kay will give us a narration.
We were at the Sugar Bowl.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. On New Year's Eve, on New Year's Day, rather. Boy, I wait a lot then. Huh.
Next.
That's my husband and our daughter, Reagan.
Oh, hi, Reagan.
In New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl.
New Orleans, yes. Lovely. Mardi Gras, I see beads.
All right.
Got a couple more there, Eric? Nope, okay. And then we have some Marianne Buyer says, we love Jack.
Oh, yeah. They've had, yeah, Marianne and others have had the chance to speak to my sweet husband. And he is funny. He's brilliant. Scary bright.
And Buck
and like I said,
here. Say hi to Buck. Say hi to Buck. Yep, there he is.
Hi, honey. Mwah.
Here's
Glad
Robert
you,
saying hi to everybody.
I know.
So cute, Robert. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We've got lots of good ones. Patricia, we did, and everyone's saying hello to everybody else.
Everyone's saying hello to everybody in there. I love that about our little
Thank
family.
you guys for joining us. Please share this out because her story needs to go out. And so you mentioned a book. You have a book coming out on this?
We might, but in the meantime, you and I, aren't we in this one?
We are, yes. So here is the Network Effect. Why don't you tell them about it?
Network Effect is a book that Ken Walls put together. We're in the Grow Live Academy. And basically, it is the best of the best and how they have networked in their lives, whether it is corporate, whether it's the arts or politics. And every chapter is written by someone remarkable. And I don't know why I'm in here, but you know.
Read a piece of yours. We got 2 minutes. Read a piece. Oh, and you can get this on Amazon, guys.
Yeah, get Amazon, Kindle, all that. What I will do is read the first paragraph.
Perfect.
Sitting at a stoplight at the corner of 15th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, next to the U.S. Treasury Department in Washington, D.C., I watched with amusement as the motorcycle police officers came screaming up to the intersection to blockade traffic. Suddenly, the presidential motorcade, always impressive to behold, sped by on its way to the White House complex. Now, what was I doing there?
What were you doing there?
I don't know. Could have been State of the Union night.
And
I had just been at the White House. I'm telling you. Now, this is a great book. Pick it up. I think it's like 99 cents at Kindle. It's wonderful. Yes. I love reading the stories of our compatriots at Grow Live Academy.
And write us a review in there so that we can get more people to read it, because there's so many authors that are on this podcast actually that joined us that have chapters in there. And that was a very fun project to do.
It really was.
Another meeting so we get everyone to sign all of our books. Because
yes, autographs.
We need to have each person sign on their chapter. And Glenn Morshower is in there as well, and Ken Walls, and all of us and more. We've got a ballerina, we've got speakers, we've got artists, authors, we've got bankers, we've got artists, we've got photographers. It is actually a nice little
CEOs, business titans of industry, entrepreneurs.
Oh my darling, what a story! You're so strong. What do you do to? I don't know. What's next for Daly Fix and Public Chat?
We have so many exciting guests coming up in the next 2 weeks. We have grown rapidly. I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be on many more platforms, and we're growing. I mean, it's becoming a real live platform, and we have some ideas of where I could go.
There's lots of ideas. If you have any ideas, let her know. Put it in the chat or send it to her on X. Subscribe to her channel on X. Subscribe to the Cynthia Manion Show.
Yes.
We are here on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. And you can see the quality of the guests that we have. They are out of this world. So a prayer for everybody here, and go for the truth. Make wise choices. Be a good person. And, you know, what you do matters. Yes. What you do matters. No matter how small of a pimple you are on a gnat's ass like me, it matters. Every single step you take, do it for your best good. And Patricia says, it's a great privilege to know both of you. I will send you a massive hug, Kay, and to your sweet love, Stanima. Oh, she's also an eloquent writer.
I love that. Thank you so much, Patricia. And no, you are not just a little person, Cynthia. No, stop it right now. We're amazing. Don't you remember that?
You're amazing.
We're amazing.
You're amazing.
And one person
can
change the world. I've seen it. One person can change the
And,
world.
and don't kill those gnats. Let them go free. All your little insects.
Oh, yes.
Free.
Oh, yes, they're here.
Too.
They're here. All of them.
Okay. Share this out. Subscribe to the Cynthia Manion Show. Subscribe. Join Daily Tweet. Join the pub chat on X. Subscribe to Kay. And we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye now.